This is the value of wrestling, the revolutionary force in wrestling podcasting.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are back. We are back, maybe a minute or so a little early, but hey, we are here, and we are going to break down,
AEW Dynamite.
Yeah, exactly. That's what we're going to break down tonight. We're going to review, we're going to go over everything, and we're going to talk about it here in just a moment, so join us, shall you? All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are back. We are live, and we are going to do a whole review on Dynamite, AEW Dynamite. It is Wednesday, and you know it, and we are here. Because you know who I am. I'm the one, the only Big Time. All you know. And, of course, I'm joined by the one and only. I got to get on the Dynamite screen, too. I'm lacking here, but I'm also joined by this man.
Paulus, Clarke.
Nope. I think we're straightened out now. The screen behind me should change momentarily here. We should be good to go. Yeah. I keep forgetting it reverts back to the original screen. This is not the weekly podcast. This is your Dynamite review for October 25th, 2023. October almost in the books. One more week. Next week, Halloween. It's going to be interesting to see what Dynamite does for Halloween. We got at least one or two matches that we will talk about as review for next week, and then we got a big match coming up for Saturday, which I feel is it's a mixed bag of feelings, but we'll get into it. Dynamite starts off hot tonight. We get a very impressive promo with MJF coming right out the door, talking about defending the world champion Jay White and everybody that's coming at him, and then he gets on the phone to call Adam Cole. Then he gets Adam Cole. Finally, he's excited, and then we hear Roderick Strong calling, "Adam! Adam!" And then Roderick Strong is wheeled in with the Kingdom. They show up. MJF basically shoves Roderick Strong in the wheelchair out of the way, and so that's what we were left with there. And then after this ended, we got somebody wearing the devil mask pop up, and yeah, that cut away. So we got the devil mask, a little taunting there. Is it MJF? Is it not MJF? It's getting really interesting in who, quote unquote, the devil mask is. At least they're bringing it back in. It kind of died there for a little bit about what they were doing with the devil mask, but I think it's a good show opener. Mr. Clarke, your thoughts on how we open the show tonight?
The only question I have, or not even too much a question, an observation. MJF loves to say no one's on the level of the devil. That may actually include MJF himself. He's not wearing the mask, obviously, unless it's pre-recorded. Possibly. It's going to be interesting to see who's behind this devil mask in this episode or this scenario. There's a lot of things kind of interesting about it all, how it's going to play out. They did kind of get away from it, but I'm glad they finally came back around to it, and now they're teasing a little more of this devil stuff. So I guess right now it's kind of a wait and see. So we open our match for the Dynamite Diamond Ring. 4-time Diamond Ring winner MJF against Juice Robinson. Jay White out on commentary. The Guns were at ringside. Very good, solid match between MJF and Juice Robinson. Both these guys looked amazing. Tony Khan did it right tonight. He booked the right match to start off the show. It got the crowd hot, got the crowd going. Of course, Juice, in the end, Juice loaded up with the fake diamond ring, while MJF loaded up with the real diamond ring. Juice went to hit MJF with the fake diamond ring, but MJF hit him with the real diamond ring, then put him on the ropes. I forget if it was a second rope, and then hit the power driver. I don't know if that actually has a name, but that's how MJF got the heat sinker.
Okay, there you go. That's how MJF got the win. Bullet Club then attacked MJF, and then you had Roderick Strong and the Kingdom come down. Roderick sent the Kingdom in to help save MJF, but they got beaten out, taken out, and Jay White came in, and the Bullet Club are here in full to cats. You know, it happens. You have a cat, they want to be right in the middle of everything. When you want to do something important, they are there. Anyways, Bullet Club was there to take out MJF. They were about to take him out, and then the Acclaim with Billy Gunn come down. And the Bullet Club leave the ring. Jay White is on the mic after MJF's five-time Diamond Ring winning match. The Guns challenge, or Jay White gives a great promo, which leads to the Guns challenging MJF for the Ring of Honor titles at Full Gear. So we got that. MJF is on the mic. He accepts the title match. So this is going to be interesting. He's defending the AEW World title against Jay White at Full Gear, and now he's going to defend the tag team titles on his own, at least as it seems right now, against the Guns at Full Gear. And then we get next week at Dynamite, we're going to have Bullet Club Gold. So we're going to have Jay White, Juice Robinson, the Guns, versus MJF and three partners of his choosing. Who these three men will be? Well, Roderick Strong starts screaming Max for the first time. Max! Max! And Roderick Strong and the Kingdom say, oh, you're going to pick us, right? And, of course, Max tells him to get lost. Then the Acclaim say, yeah, you're going to pick us. And MJF tells Max Caster he's never liked them. And he rejects both teams and basically tells Max Caster, he he would even accept him if he was on fire. The only way to put him out is if he had a team with him. And somehow in all that, Max Caster goes, so there's a chance. So we got that moment. There's a chance in all of that. Anyways, before MJ leaves, Max Caster asks him to scissor him. Max denies it, and I guess MJF scissoring is like Undertaker doing a spin-a-rooney. Just never gonna happen type of thing. And so then Max is going to leave, right? He's going to walk out. The Acclaimed are still in the ring, and we get the music of Omega. Yes, Omega out here. He does his great promo there, basically challenging MJF, and MJF accepts. And so now we have an AEW title match between Kenny Omega and MJF on Collision this Saturday. So a great reason to go watch Collision. I mean, you can't deny this is going to be a good match, but I definitely feel that this is a wasted pay-per-view opportunity. I feel this is a pay-per-view level match. I get why they're rushing this match because, MJF's coming to the Omega's title run to how many days he had the belt, the longest title reign on October 31st, I guess is the date that MJF will pass Omega for the longest title reign, and so Omega wants to stop MJF, so I get why they're rushing it to a Saturday, but it definitely feels like this could have been a pay-per-view quality match that could slightly be ruined by this. But there it is. MJF beats Juice Robinson, becomes a 5-time Dynamite ring winner, has conflict with the Bullet Club, Roderick Strong in the Kingdom. You had it claimed in this opening match, and then you had Kenny Omega and MJF facing off to end it all. What an opening segment. There was some good, there was some they could have done without of it, but it was a good segment. The match was great. The match was really, really good. A good match. And then we get the Kenny Omega MJF match, which is kind of, to me, I get the booking. I understand you want to get eyes on Collision, but I think you're taking a match that could be pay-per-view quality to get viewers on Collision. Mr. Clarke, what are your thoughts of this opening match and everything else that followed?
Clearly, they're leaving money on the table by having Omega and JF on Collision, but it is what it is. If AEW really wanted to rib WWE, all they have to say is MJF is now a five-time Dynamite ring winner.
Yes, they could. And I see our boy, our New Japan Pro Wrestling expert, is here in the chat with us. What's up, Mr. Miguel Z? Glad you're here with us in the chat. Thank you for joining us. Give me a thumbs up if you can hear everything. Everything sounds good, just so we know, because you're there. But we appreciate it for joining us. But yeah, good opening segment to Dynamite. I think Tony Khan started this show off in the right direction. Let's get me over here a little more. There we go. I feel a little more centered in the picture. From there, we got a video package of Wardlow, where we heard Wardlow talk. Like, we haven't heard Wardlow talk in forever. We didn't know what was going on with him.
Last week he didn't want to talk to Tony Schiavone and shoulder thrust Schiavone and flipped him upside down. But so this week we get Wardlow's opinion about how he's pissed off that Max is getting all the attention. Max wore the gold while he was sitting at home nursing injuries. He can't take it now anymore, and he is going to come after Max and take everything from Max. Everything. He's going to come take everything from Max like everybody else says. Whether it's Shay White or Samoa Joe, they're all going to come take everything from Max. MJF is going to have everybody taking everything from him. So, thank you very much, Mr. Z. We appreciate you. I have no faith in Wardlow no matter what they do. It was nice to hear him talk, but I'm just kind of, I'm over it. I don't even know why they're trying to circle him around Max. I get the storyline premise of what they're using, but to me, it's just like, I'm not even interested. Mr. Clarke, your thoughts on...
The main problem is it's going down the same way they've already gone down before. Mm-hmm. Whether it's making him look like a monster wrestler, face heel, who cares? The point is they're trying to attempt to give him a push, but it's like, you're doing it in the same fashion. Like, there's nothing new. There's...
Against us. And like the same guy. It's like he's going right after Max. I'm like, you haven't done anything in forever. I get that you've been injured, but it's like, why does he automatically get to jump straight to the top of the food chain and go after Max?
Well, so far he's not jumping straight yet. Because every wrestler can say they want to be the world champion, but to get that actual push, and it's like, first of all, that push has to be against guys that actually matter.
Yeah.
Just squashing a bunch of people don't mean nothing.
You mean if he gets to
go? They have that whole storyline where everybody's after Max. So,
yeah, and I'm just not impressed with Wardlow in this scenario, and I'm kind of,
Yeah, I understand.
It just doesn't do me anything. I'm like, why does he go fight somebody else? I'm like, why does he need to go after Max? He's pissed off at Max. He beat Max. It went on. He's been injured, so he's been sitting there because he got injured. Like Max, as far as I remember, Max didn't cause him to be injured.
Nope.
So I don't. There's nothing there. It's just like I'm mad because Max is getting attention. I'm not, and I'm just like, man, that just sounds bad.
Jealousy is a boot.
No shoot. Anyways, our next match was the Dark Order: John Silver, Alex Reynolds versus Hook and RVD. We got RVD back, and I guess RVD was signed to be here at WrestleMania, but then for whatever reason, WWE has dropped RVD from appearing at WrestleMania, and about 30 minutes after that, Tony Khan signed him to be a part of this match, I guess, is what I read. So Tony Khan reached out like 30 minutes after RVD had been kicked off the WrestleMania log.
As I understand it, it's just one-shot appearances.
Yeah, he was supposed to...
Signed.
No, he's not signed. It doesn't sound like he's signed to the company, but he was signed to do work, publicity, promo for WrestleMania, and he was supposed to possibly appear at WrestleMania in some form or fashion. Exactly. I don't know. Yeah. Okay. But it's like 30 minutes after they pulled him from all that, said, yeah, we don't need you. Tony Khan called him out and brought him back for this match. Evil Uno. Oh, boy, Evil Uno comes in with the chair, winds up getting basically what is a Van Daminator, the spinning heel hook into the chair into Evil Uno's face. RVD hits the 5-star frog splash on Reynolds. John Silver tries to hit RVD with a knee, but he's caught by Hook, and we get red rum. Silver taps out. Hook and RVD are your winners. They hug. They celebrate. What a moment. So, from there, I mean, is there anything you want to add to that? Before I just jump over that. It was a decent match. It was what you expect between these four guys.
I don't know if there's anything I really can add, but what I will say is, like, I love the Dark Order. Everyone knows this. But by the same token, they need to be given better material. Give them something to do storyline-wise. Yes. Whether they win or lose is almost irrelevant to me. But give them something storyline-wise. You expected Hook and RVD to go over. I mean, it was what it was.
I will give it this, though. RVD did look like he was better in shape for this match than the last match. He didn't look so worn out or aged. Mm-hmm. He looked in a little better shape this week than he did last time, so I will at least give him that. Overall, it was what you expect in this type of matchup. Then I guess your highlight of the night came on as we got a Timeless Tony Storm vignette. We got a silent movie called Hold the Butler. And so we get more Timeless Tony Storm, which I know you, sir, are a big fan of. You could probably watch during every commercial break a vignette or a silent film of Tony Storm.
If it wasn't in picture, maybe I could. You see that little screen?
I know. Oh, come on. But at least they're doing something better with it than putting wrestling matches every time. I mean, you know.
That's true.
You give something in the middle with the signs. So
in worst case scenario, you can always watch it on YouTube after the fact.
mm-hmm.
You want to see it in full.
So from there, we get Sting coming out with Darby Allin. Darby Allin has his arm in the sling. Tony Schiavone in the ring. They talk back and forth. Sting says he forgot to thank a couple people. He forgot to thank Darby Allin. He forgot to thank Tony Khan. And he thanked the people of Philadelphia. And then Tony Schiavone gets us all hyped up for the gift. Tony Khan has a very, very special gift for one Sting. And then we hear that very familiar music on a much, I would say, probably a little bit of a slower pace than we've heard it in a while. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, returning to a ring, returning to TBS, which I was surprised they didn't talk about for the first time in so many years. It's Rick, the Nature Boy, Ric Flair on TBS, on the Superstation. They didn't even sell that, really, which was shocking. But yes, we had the Nature Boy, Ric Flair, come down. He was Sting's present. Him and Sting hug, embrace. Ric Flair almost looked like he wasn't going to let Sting go from that hug at moments. They had a little fun. They talk back and forth. They're there. Ric Flair wants to ride this wave with Sting. I don't know what that exactly means. It's the Nature Boy in wrestling. You can't trust him as long as the man doesn't get in the ring and wrestle. I think I'll be okay. If he does something to cost Sting, that'll be understandable and normal. I'm telling you. And there's a lot of rumors about who Sting's going to face for his final match. It's very interesting. But now, maybe more than ever, I might believe it because of what somebody else said tonight. And we'll get to that briefly. Anyway, so from there, Christian Cage comes out. Christian Cage, he does really good in his promos, and then he starts going off on a tangent and really gets the fans pissed off at him. He's out there with Luchasaurus and Nick Wayne. He gets FU chants, hardcore.
Yep.
There's some fine lines that Christian walked. I know that you want to get heel heat, but he was really walking a fine line. He lost some of his promos, and it went on maybe a little too long for Christian. Like, not that he wasn't doing okay, but it was just like he just kept going on and just beating the horse and beating Ric Flair and beating the Sting on this and that and beating Phil. I'm just kind of like, okay, can we get to the point? Like, you're just yabbering. So, anyways, what we got, though, is a full gear match. Christian, Luchasaurus, and Nick Wayne will be taking on Sting and Darby Allin with a mystery partner for Full Gear. This is a match that's going to be at Full Gear. Who will the mystery partner be? Big assumptions, and what happened later will probably point that person out. No, it's not going to be Ric Flair, thank goodness, but Ric Flair will probably be in their corner. Your thoughts on Ric Flair, the Nature Boy, showing up on AEW, getting the holy S chance because he was on AEW TV, which, granted, it was a moment more of nostalgia, but they really didn't sell it. I was surprised. They didn't say he hadn't been on TBS. Of course, I do have to say, they said it's been 35 years. So I'm like, well, if the Clash of Champions competed with WrestleMania on TV, that would have been, well, no, because what year was that? Oh, no, it was 88. So, yeah, it's been 35 years. 88 was the first Clash of Champions, if I remember correctly. I'd have to look at some notes I've been creating. But what were your thoughts, sir?
Well, first of all, I think the reason why they didn't sell Flair being on TBS or whatever is because they sold Sting on that. So they'd already be beating a dead horse. It's like, here's a quick mention, okay, but we don't need to oversell it as I felt like they oversold it for Sting as it is.
Yeah. And
but
I was going to say, and I think Ric Flair is on a appearance. I don't even know if he got paid to be here tonight or if this was something to do for Sting and Tony Schiavone. So
even as a favor, I think he's getting paid. I don't think he's going to be.
I would assume so. Yeah.
For free. He might be backstage for free, but that's another story. 6-man tag coming up. Really depends who the third partner is, in my opinion.
Well, I think
It could be cool. It could be.
I think we got the prelude to that a little bit later in the show, but we will hold on to that. But yeah, it should be an interesting match. We'll see how it plays out. From there, we got a sit-down interview with Renee and Chris Jericho. Jericho is kind of not the best interview segment. I don't know. But Jericho says he can't recall being beat down like that. And I said, I guess he forgot the time Goldberg beat the snot out of him many, many, many years ago on the Superstation. But hey, and speaking of Goldberg, anyways, Goldberg is going to, or not Goldberg, Chris Jericho.
Damn.
I know, my bad, your fault. It's all good. We keep going. We keep rolling. It's live. Yes. well, hey, you might be calling that out sooner or later. Because, anyways, Chris Jericho's going into self-reflecting. Jericho is going to get some revenge, he says. And Jericho hinted on getting or making a phone call to somebody bigger than Hobbs. And then we get this really weird look where Renee and Jericho on camera just kind of look at you like, yeah, you know who it is. I'm like going, who's bigger than Hobbs that Jericho knows?
I mean, he has connections with every major wrestling promotion in the world. It's let alone independents or whatever. Anyone, literally. It's like the list is too large for me to even try to.
Could it be Paul White? They have a history. Is this how we're gonna get
former tag champions together?
Oh, is this how we're gonna get Captain Insano? Of course, could this also could this be a prelude to Goldberg? Not to say Chris Jericho and Goldberg are friends that I know of, but I don't know this day and age because there's a lot of rumors that Sting may be facing Goldberg in his final match. Where we got that, I don't know. I don't know if it's facts. It's just what is murmuring in the rounds in the IWC.
And the ether of the IWC.
Yes. Why? I don't know, but hey,
I thought for the story they're trying to tell Jericho, I actually thought more highly of the segment than you, apparently. Like, it may not have been, some dramatic, needle-moving story, but it's like, but they're trying to sell Hobbs as a major powerhouse.
Mm-hmm.
I don't mean that just strength, but you know what I'm saying. So the fact that Jericho, for just a moment, kind of feels dejected, I thought was a good sign. And of course, now being the wrestler that he is, of course he's going to say that he wants his revenge or he wants to, gain his confidence back by beating him, or however you want to put that. Yeah. I think this is, a continuing story, so I'm more willing to see how this is going to play out.
Yeah, I'm just interested in who he's going to give a call to. I mean, Jericho and Paul White have a history together. Yeah. He's bigger than Powerhouse Hobbs. I hope not, because I don't really need to see it. I don't think Paul White adds anything other than being there. It's, yeah.
But what would it say if Hobbs beat down Paul White in the long run?
It would be impressive.
Beating of that giant.
It'd be impressive in some ways, but not overall, because Paul White's there's just not much there, and he hasn't in AEW lore. He hasn't done a whole lot to be, he's not there enough to really feel like Powerhouse Hobbs beat him down. You're like, okay, I can see the history of it's the big giant, he takes him down, but I don't know if it's going to look as good as it should. Paul White in his prime might be a different story than Paul White, who we haven't seen a whole lot of, to just randomly show up to help Jericho. But I guess maybe that is the direction, because he would be bigger. He would be somebody Jericho has history with. Kind of makes sense. The segment for me, the Renee's interaction with Jericho. Jericho wasn't so bad, but it was just, I don't know. Not a big fan of Renee's interview segments sometimes.
I don't know. WWE has programmed me not to pay as much attention to the interviewer as to the star. So
yeah,
I don't know if I necessarily pay as much attention to her, even though I think she does great work in general. Whether it be her own podcast, whether that be as an interviewer.
Her podcast, she's better than this interview and some of the other interviews I've seen her in. Anyways, that took us into the Ring of Honor 6-man World Tag Team titles. Yes, the Hung Bucks, or the Elite of the Young Bucks and the Hangman Adam Page are teaming up to defend their Ring of Honor 6-man World Tag Team titles. Always got to make sure you emphasize whether they're 6-man or trios titles, because we like to name titles different things. Anyways, they got to take on the Hardy Boys and Brother Zay. And, of course, the great Carry On My Wayward Son hits by Kansas. And if you didn't know who sung that song, well, now you know. It's a legendary band, Kansas. Even though I'm more of a Dust in the Wind type of guy, you always got to love Carry On My Wayward Son. It was a decent match for what you expect. The Hardys, Eric Bischoff or somebody, who was it? Matt Hardy wants to have a heel stable with the Hardy Boys, Adam Copeland, and Christian Cage. And I'm like, oh.
No,
I'm not down for it. The Hardy Boys just, I feel so bad because I look at Matt and Jeff, and I love those guys, and they've been great. But I just look at them, and I'm just like, they look out of shape. They move so slow, so much slower than they used to. I'm just like, Anyways, Hangman hits a buckshot lariat. We get a double super kick from. He hits a buckshot lariat, I believe, on Brother Zay. We get the super kick from the Young Bucks onto the Hardy Boys, and then we get a BTE trigger, and the Elite retain their 6-man tag team titles. This was a decent match, not a pretty match, not a great match. It was a decent match. The Hardys, when they get in the ring, it's just sometimes they show their age, and it hurts a little bit because I love what these boys used to do, but you can just see it. If you've been around watching wrestling, if you go back to the Attitude Era when these boys were flying off of ladders and doing table dives and doing the crazy stuff they were with Edge and Christian and the Dudley Boys and everybody else, and then you watch them now, you're just kind of like, oh, it's hard. It's hard. I love them. I'm glad they're out there doing the best that they can. I respect everything they do. I'm not trying to knock them, but I just see it, and it hurts me a little bit. Mr. Clarke.
That's my boy, but I agree with everything you just said. At one point, they were the X Division before there was an X Division.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So that's the good and bad of watching wrestling for as long as we have.
Yeah.
And for the next case, being in wrestling for as long as they
oh, shit.
Age is going to catch up with them. It is what it is.
It just shows so badly sometimes. I'm just like, especially Jeff. Jeff more than Matt. Matt's kind of.
But Matt's also more grounded, so you don't see it as much. That's also why.
But you can see it sometimes.
Yeah. Even Matt. Like I said, that's my boy.
Yeah. Oh, I know. You're a V1 now. A V1 man. Yes. You know. But and then poor Brother Zay. I'm like, what are they gonna do with him? He just kind of feels lost in the sauce in this whole way. I don't know how you do anything with him.
I mean, if they had some kind of like junior weight division or something, like they could use the international title for that. They could use, I wouldn't say the TNT title. I don't know.
No, you can't do that. TNT title is almost the number one title in the company. You have like the TNT title's number one, and then the international AEW World title are like right here. I mean, the AEW title is almost the lowest title on the men's roster in AEW. Like, it's almost being outshined by the international title. At least tonight, MJF got to come back and feel like MJF. It felt like MJF was kind of becoming stale. We got a little bit of the old MJF coming out with these promos, this heat. I was glad to see MJF kind of coming back, and we got away from all the stupid vignettes for once. Even though all the people were there, we didn't have any of the stupid video packages tonight.
You know what I wish they would have done when they were doing the crossover with Impact Wrestling? I wish they would have pulled the trigger on Private Party winning the Impact tag titles.
Yeah.
I mean, you can kind of have an ego about it because, it's like, well, what are they going to do for that company? Except for, besides the short term. The short term is obvious. I've wanted to see more for Private Party for the longest time, and with, Brother Zay's partner being out at the moment, being injured or whatever. Like, they're doing the best they can with Brother Zay, with the Hardys.
Yeah.
Like, they're doing what they can, but it goes back to, for the time being, it is what it is.
So after the match, we had the Elite in the ring, and then we got a cut away to the screen, and we saw Prince Nana. No dancing tonight from Prince Nana. I'm sure that was disappointing for you. You didn't get to see Prince Nana dance. But Prince Nana was breaking into somebody's house, and then we found out it was Hangman's house, and then here is Swerve, and Nana's like, whose house? Swerve's house. Swerve and Nana are creeping around Hangman's house, Swerve looking for something of importance to basically say because Hangman owes him. Continuing the storyline, eventually he goes into Hangman's, I think it was his son's, his new baby's room with the crib. Luckily they didn't show the baby, so I don't think anybody was there. I think they staged this the right way. It got a little creepy. In the moment. I get that Swerve's supposed to be a creep, but this kind of, you're a parent. For me being a parent, you're kind of like, There's just some things that are just a no-go. You just don't go into those areas. But I'll give them, at least they didn't show a kid. They didn't show anybody else in the house. They didn't violate anybody in the house. They just kind of creeped in like it was staged for nobody to be home. Or they were in some other room. But anyways, it was a moment. I don't know if this was the best direction for Swerve. I get they want to continue that storyline, make it a little personal. Hangman, of course, ran out of the arena. And they're in Philadelphia, so I don't know where he currently lives. I know they bill him from West Virginia, so I mean, yeah, you might be able to drive there in 6 hours or something roughly, but I don't know where he currently lives. Well, Philadelphia is right above. Well, it's on the corner. I've been to Philadelphia. It's on the corner. You're not far from the West Virginia border, but I think where he lives in West Virginia might be on the more western end near Kentucky. So I think it's about 4 or 6 hour drive, but I don't know. I don't know if he lives there. But my thing's like, why is he running out of the building? Where's he going to go? Like, I mean, it's kind of like, I get it, you're going to run out, but where are you going to go? You're going to get on a plane and fly home like that? It's just like, by the time you get there, not going to be there. So it was just kind of like, I get why he was running out. I get what they're trying to sell, but it's just kind of like, no, if we would have been in Hangman's backyard, like if we would have been in West Virginia, or we knew like, oh, this is where he lives now, you know, we don't know where he necessarily lives, quote unquote, now. We know where he's billed from. It might have been different. Like if throughout the night they'd been, oh, Hangman has a house here, or if they would have said, oh, yeah, Hangman lives in the area here, and it might have been made some more sense. But is there anything you want to add to this little segment?
I'm glad they went the route they went. They didn't go where I thought they were going to go. I thought they were going to do like some kind of kidnapped child angle. I'm like, mother.
Oh, yeah, they really borderline on that when they were looking at the baby crib and they were talking. He's like, you owe me. And I mean, there was a moment I'm like, if he picks up a kid and walks out with him, I'm going to be like, no, I'm going to be a little mad at Tony Khan, but luckily, no.
Even for me, as much as I love soap opera shit, when it comes to pro wrestling, no. It's like, you have to be on the board. Like, anything that's illegal? Let's not do that. Even the Attitude Era, there are some things that just did not make sense when you think about it.
Well,
it's like, yeah, it's a TV show. Yeah, you want to suspend your belief to a degree.
Well,
there also has to be some sensibilism also.
Well, WWE pushed the envelope further than anybody's ever pushed the envelope with the Brian Pillman, Steve Austin breaking into his house and pulling out a gun. I mean, you didn't really even...
I was not trying to mention that, but yes, that's what I was thinking about.
Well, that's a huge moment, and you didn't even really get guns on TV that much in a whole lot of things. Like, you know, it was... But hey, interesting segment. I get what they're trying to do with Swerve, but I don't know if I totally agree with everything for that segment.
I completely understand. They were attempting to sell urgency with Hangman running out.
Yeah.
But I think, like you said, what's he really going to do? Like, it's laughable.
Yeah, it gets laughable. So, anyways, we come back and we're backstage with Renee. She's kind of talking with Adam Copeland, where she's mentioning, I know you don't want to fight Christian. What are you going to do? He's talking about, Christian's been my friend, blah, blah, blah. And this is when Darby Allin and Sting walk in, and Darby calls Adam stupid and ask Adam what he's going to do. Don't be a fool. And Adam's about to say something, and Sting, of all people, go off on Adam Copeland. Sting is like, what are you doing? He goes, I know what it's like to have blinders. Look, I was out there with Ric Flair. I've been up and down the roads with Lex Luger. I've worn my blinders. Take your blinders off. Do something about it. It definitely looks like Adam Copeland will probably wind up being their third partner for Full Gear. How that'll play out could be very interesting. You could still keep Adam Copeland as the one that doesn't want to fight Christian in that match, even at Full Gear.
Mm-hmm.
Bottom line, Adam Copeland and Christian cannot touch one another until they are in their one-on-one match. Period. I don't care when that happens. Hopefully it's at a pay-per-view. Hopefully it's at like Revolution at the beginning of next year. But I don't think they should touch one another until they get in a one-on-one situation. I think it needs to be Christian's going to do everything to piss off Adam Copeland to get Adam Copeland to finally get in the ring and do what needs to be done. If he gets in this tag match, I think it's the perfect partner for them. I think you can tease Christian and him locking up, but you don't have them lock up. Tony, if you're watching this, don't have them lock up. You have to build on this match. You have Christian at the peak. You have the TNT title at the peak. You have Adam Copeland. You have this great story, and you've just got it to keep people interested and keep it going. You cannot let them touch. Your thoughts on the segment, sir?
You have to go by the Rey Mysterio, Dominic Mysterio playbook, where for the last time, Rey would not fight his son.
Mm-hmm.
In this case, Adam cannot fight Christian until it's time to get to that bubbling point where it's, okay, now it's time to explode.
Yeah.
And do everything. I agree with you 100%. Not even in a tag match should they touch.
No.
They should tease it. Like, they both get tagged in, whatever. And one of them's like, no, fuck it. Tag out.
Oh, and you could have Adam Copeland, be in there and thinking he's hot, and then Christian get tagged in, look around, and Christian laugh at him, and then he'd be like tag out just because he doesn't want to fight Christian.
Mhm.
Please, Tony, do this one right. You could. It's going to be great, but you could screw it up in a blink of an eye. So I hope you know what you have here, Tony. I hope you know what you're doing. Miguel, what are you typing in the chats here? Message retracted, message retracted, message retracted. What do you? I don't know what's going on. He's got his message. Did you get
Yeah,
yourself
I see it.
booted? Did you say something inappropriate? Get yourself booted by accident? I don't know.
Well,
I
last
saw
time you
your.
said before that was something about Space Mountain when we were talking about Ric Flair.
I know. He said
So
Space
I don't
Mountain
know.
and Woo, but I think he only had 4 messages, and he put another message in there. I'm kind of curious how, or if he retracted his own message. I don't know. Message retracted. Interesting. We'll have to figure that out later. But anyways, we are good on time. So from there, we got the AEW Women's Title match. We had Ruby Soho versus Hikaru. I've been saying it 100 times, but Hikaru Shida. Good match, good solid match. We had Ruby Soho, we had Shida. They went back and forth. She hit the katana on Soho to get the 1, 2, 3. Shida is your AEW Women's Champion. After the match, we had Tyme with Toni Storm come out and do I don't know exactly what you call it, a dance, a whole, I'm hypnotizing. I don't know. It was really, really weird. I get they're trying to sell this gimmick, but even this was a little overright. Ooh, I'm John Cena. You can't see me. I don't know what she was doing in this. It was weird. I was like, okay. So will Shida face Timeless Toni Storm at Full Gear? They did not confirm that. They just said Toni Storm's going to face whoever the AEW Women's Champion is at Full Gear. So I guess Shida's going to have more matches between now and then before we get there to make it all make sense. Oh, he said his chat.
Yeah, I see what he says in the chat. Free advice, Uncle Tony.
Yeah, he said he didn't do anything. The chat just disappeared for a moment, but I guess he's back. Welcome back, Miguel. Yes, free advice for Tony, always. You were saying.
I don't understand why they had to have Ruby Soho hit the unexposed corner. Like, because you see that, I get, maybe they're trying to protect her in some way still. It's like, well, if she's going to lose anyways, just have Shida win clean.
How you protecting Ruby Soho by doing that right now? Ruby Soho just lost. Didn't she have a TBS title match and lose to Chris Statlander? What has Ruby Soho done that's really,
What I mean by protect in this case is like she didn't really win. She didn't win clean.
Yeah.
From a face perspective. Like,
I think
the ref didn't see it, so obviously he's not going to call it. He can't. But like, Ruby still has something she can say. Hey, it's like you didn't beat me. The damn medal in the corner did.
Technically, but I feel like Ruby Soho's kind of fallen into the same trap that she was when she was one Ruby Riott in WWE. She's just kind of, she's on that edge of being something, but
elevate her up to a point, but they will not pull the trigger. That's
what I don't
understand.
They do that a lot, and of course, they do that a lot with their women. It's like, yeah, Tony Khan is booking title matches for the women, but he isn't building any of his women. He's not giving us any storyline with the women. Yes, he's giving us Timeless Toni Storm. He's giving us this vignettes. But is it really a storyline, or is it just telling us who the character is? We don't know what she's really doing other than being completely crazy. But hey, and on that note, Nyla Rose is coming out and trying to get AEW to have women tag team titles because she wants to be a women's tag champion with Mira Shafir, which might work. But you can't even get the women's title and TBS title going anywhere. And hell, the women's TBS champion has the least lineage. You've only had 2 TBS champions in the entire existence of that belt.
And at that point, this is a good thing.
Yeah, well, every other belt.
They hop near that title a lot.
Oh, yeah.
Less prestigious.
How many women's champions do we have? And Sheeta's been a 3-time women's champion now. Wardlow and a whole list of them have been multi-time TNT champions. So, I mean, we have Moxley's been, a 3-time AEW world champion already? And you've only had two TBS champions. So,
but
that's a note.
Nyla Rose say she's been advocating for those tag titles since day 34, something like that?
I guess. AEW does not need women's champions. No, Tony Khan. WWE can't really get them over, and they have their own booking problems, but they don't have They have maybe more of a women's roster than you have to do it, but I mean, you can't even get the women over because you don't even give us storylines. You just put people in matches and have the title defended. You don't even give us a reason why these people are contenders. At least with Toni Storm, we know that Full Gear, she kind of won the right to be there, but everybody else, it's just kind of like, oh, she's getting a match. This person's getting a match. This person's getting a match.
And out of all of that, when it comes to the women's division, I have one question. Is Britt Baker?
She's doing her dental duty in her office. Hell, for that matter of fact, where's Saraya? Where's Riho? Where's Riho? Where's Nyla Rose wants women's tag team titles, but she's not even featured on TV. So I mean, what does that say?
She is here and there, but it's not in any major stories.
Not for a while, I mean, and there is no stories in the women's division. All Tony does, he books the women for a while, then he blows off, and then when people complain, he starts booking women's title matches, and then there's no storyline to it. And then he'll have a three-way dance and say, "Oh, you're going to be the number one contender." Where's my Thunder? Where's our Thunder Rosa?
And apparently, she's getting closer and closer to saying she's back, ready to be back. Excuse me.
We shall see how that all plays out. From there, we got a backstage segment. In this backstage segment, we see Renee walk in on MJF, who's getting checked out by the medical team. They're having a conversation when one and only Samoa Joe walks up and approaches Max and offers to be Max's friend, be Max's ally. Max is like, yes, immediately shakes hands with Samoa Joe. And then Joe goes, but on one condition. I want your world title. I want a title shot from you. But you don't have to say anything now. We will talk about it later. So it looks like Max and Samoa Joe are going to be aligned going forward. He has a match coming up on Collision against Omega now. Full Gear. He's going to face Jay White for the AEW World title. Next week on Dynamite, he has the 4-on-4 match where if he wins, he's supposed to get his title back. And then he's supposed to defend the Ring of Honor titles by himself, I guess. I don't know. Maybe I guess Joe might be his tag team partner against the Guns. I don't know how this is going to work out. How this is all going to play. Sometimes you can do a good storyline, but sometimes you can have too much going on in a story. There are so many people mixed up in the story. It's almost like you have to keep notes just to keep track of who's doing what in this one storyline
episode.
And I get you want everybody going after the champion, but it's like you're blending them all in. I guess Tony Khan's going, oh, you all want storyline? Here, I'll just put everybody in a storyline. It's like, no, we want storylines for everybody, not everybody in one storyline.
Exactly.
It's like, good God. I mean, I think he's already screwing up giving us Omega MJF on Collision. I get getting eyes on Collision, getting people to come watch the show. I get getting a ratings pop, and yeah, you're going to get a ratings pop. But that doesn't help you in the long run either because you're going to have a high ratings this week, and the next week you're going to drop back down because you're not going to be able to captivate that same audience. And then when you try to put that on pay-per-view, I'm sorry, this is like a Stone Cold Brock Lesnar issue where Stone Cold walked out because they were going to put him against Brock Lesnar on free TV, and he's like, no, that's bad. So, I mean, I get why. It'll be a damn good match for sure, but I'm just like, The first time for these two to lock up for a world title and you're giving it away on free TV, I think that's bad. Let us know your opinions in the comments. Anyways, then we got to the final match. The team of Orange Cassidy and Kazuchika Okada.
I wouldn't even try that one.
Kazuchika Okada. Hey, New Japan Pro Wrestling expert, Mr. Miguelzi, did I get that right? Kazuchika Okada? Let me know if I got that one right. I've been trying to practice. They went up against the Blackpool Combat Club team members of Bryan Danielson and Claudio Castagnoli. Claudio Castagnoli looked good. It was a good match for what you expect. Bryan Danielson took two big hits from Okada and Cassidy on Orange Punch, and then Okada's hit took him out. He was laying on the side of the ring, but Claudio gets the win. He launches Cassidy up in the air and does that spinning uppercut like he does, and gets a real quick 1, 2, 3. It did feel like the match ended odd, but maybe that is because Bryan Danielson got hurt the way he did, and they needed to wrap it up. Good. I nailed it. Yay, me. Anyways, so after the match, cameras focused on Bryan Danielson, so it was really hard to figure out if this was a work, a shoot, if this was reality, if Bryan Danielson is hurt again, not good. I mean, and then everybody came out to the ringside. You had the rest of the Blackpool Combat Club. You had Wheeler Yuta and even John Moxley. Nobody coming out to music. Then you had the Best Friends out there. You had Rocky Romero out there. You had Hook show up. You had a whole ring full of people coming out for this match. The commentating got really weird. They were focused on Bryan Danielson. I have to assume that Bryan Danielson's actually hurt. The way this show ended, the way the match ended, I don't think he's faking it or it was scripted. I mean, at the end, it looked like he was going to be okay. I don't know. It was very weird. But in the end, then we got the last minute from Tony Schiavone. And Tony Khan is just confirmed because Claudio Castagnoli pinned Orange Cassidy. Next week on Dynamite, Orange Cassidy will defend his international title against Claudio Castagnoli. And that is how we ended the show.
The fact that we don't know if it's a work or not, because his acting ability is good enough, in my opinion. Yeah. And drawing upon his past, because he has been injured, it's easy to give that sympathy. Mm-hmm. Now, hopefully, I'm hoping it's a work. Obviously, I mean, I think we all are, but time will tell us one way or another.
Yeah, no, I'm sure.
He's okay.
At time, I'd look it up, but we don't. But hey, hopefully it's okay. I don't need to see him going out injured again. Right. But that makes me also go, what are we doing, AEW? Again, Tony, you got another guy hurt, another big name hurt. If this is real, then, I mean, Tony's got to really look at how he starts protecting people a little better because he can't constantly have all his names involved in high-end storylines getting hurt. I get it's wrestling, accidents happen, but we've got to do some more preventative because it's too often. This is my... Mm-hmm. It's just...
On the flip side of all this, I do expect the Orange Cassidy Claudio Castagnoli match to be great.
Oh, it'll be a great match. It'll be a standing match, and it'll be an awesome match. It's just unfortunate event here. We have to wait to see how it all falls out, comes together. We got Okada on Dynamite, which was a great thing. Should be really good. A lot of interesting things going on, and with that, overall, Dynamite was really good. I think Dynamite brought it. Tony Khan did a really good tonight with Dynamite. Dynamite was an amazing show. Was an awesome show. Started off strong. Had a few bad moments there, but overall, it was a very, very good show. Brought MJF a little more back into the picture where he was getting a little stale, kind of lost in the maneuver. But we got away from those video vignettes. I'm still kind of done with the whole Roderick Strong Kingdom stuff, like that, and just...
I understand.
Just over it. We got to see the devil a couple times, so we don't know what that means. Is Adam Cole the one wearing the devil's mask? Is this what this is going to be? I don't think it's going to be MJF behind the devil mask. Maybe it'll be the greatest trick again. But you got to be careful playing that same story over and over again. You know what I'm saying? You can't keep going to, the devil tricks you. It'll run its course, so it's going to be interesting to see. Collision will be a good show, it looks like. I'm sure probably 30 minutes of that show is going to be Omega MJF, if not the last hour of that show. Who knows how that's going to be booked. That is going to be the match. Who knows? Are they going to try to outdo Will Ospreay and Mike Bailey from Bound for Glory? It could be interesting. Will this be a match of the year candidate when it's all said and done? I mean, these are two guys who can bring it to that level. I just think you've missed your shot on that one. I think, I get why Omega wants to do it before MJF, takes his world title reign, as long as, but I feel like it's a little late into it.
Really, Miguel? Really?
I did it for The Rock.
Right.
Oh, Miguel, just because you're not here.
Yeah!
Why not? Anyways, inside jokes are great.
I'm going to drink a big glass of milk.
Exactly.
Thank you.
Anyways, that was Dynamite. Good show. I think Collision will be a great show. Your final thoughts, your assumptions, your what do you think, Mr. Yeah.
Outro, rah, rah.
There you gotta go.
And I'm kind of blanking. We've already talked about the main event match. Overall, I thought it was a good show. We want to see, more shows continue these storylines. Maybe even make more storylines, like separate, like you said, not all in one, not everyone in one storyline, but more feuds that matter.
Yeah. Well, we need the storyline like who are you building next to really be the contender for MJF? What is going on? I guess we kind of have a thing for the international champion, for the TNT title. We got storylines kind of going there. We need more women's storylines. We need more women involved in storylines on what's going on there. So we have to wait and see who's Jericho going to call. Hopefully, we'll figure that out next week. Hopefully, that's not a long delayed thing. Thinking about it, it's probably going to be Paul White. It makes a lot of sense. So we'll have to see. I don't know if I'm going to be that excited. It makes sense, but I don't know if I'm going to be that excited about it.
Well, here's the thing. So you have Dynamite and Rampage that are usually taped together most times. So you have 3 hours of TV. You're telling me you can't get more than one women's match within those 3 hours that's taped?
Yeah.
Between 2 different shows? These storylines don't have to. Yes, the title's important. You got those title programs, whether it's for the TBS title, whether it's for the Women's World Championship. But you can also have stories that have nothing to do with the titles. Build contenders to let's be interesting in general. Yeah. Okay, Tony Khan, you can do it.
You can do it. Yes.
Ding dong, ding dong, it's Dr. I.
Yes, it happens. So, anyways, I think that about sums everything up. We are glad that you're here, and it's time to do what we do each and every week. We thank you for joining us right here on the Dynamite Review. This is the Value of Wrestling. This is our Dynamite Review. We will be back on Friday night with a SmackDown review. We will not cover Rampage on Friday nights. We will either, if there's anything of great significance or there's any reason we feel we're going to talk about it, we will update that when we do our Collision on Saturday. And then, of course, on Sundays, 12 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, we are here, me, Mr. Paulus, Clarke, and, of course, our New Japan Pro Wrestling expert, the one, the only, Miguel Z, will be joining us also for a weekly roundup where we'll discuss everything that's gone down in the week of wrestling. There's a little bit of stuff going on. It hasn't been a very busy week, but there's some stuff going on. Always look at our other videos. We got a lot of great stuff up there, a lot of great features, so check that out. But while you're here, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Join the Value Wrestling family. Become part of the Value Wrestling family. And we appreciate you and everybody who has subscribed. We're working on our way to 100. We're trying to hit that 100 mark. That's going to be our first step. Then we're going to hit that number 500, 1,000, and then upwards we climb. But you know what? You get in now. You get to get on that ground floor. You get to be there from basically day one. You get to be the ones who say we are the ones. So go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Join the family. Join the Value Wrestling. Help us build up. Of course, your subscription helps us get out to more people. Of course, ring that bell for notifications. So when we come live with any video, or when any new videos come out there, and we had a couple of videos come out today, we had a couple of videos come out yesterday. We're always putting out new content, no matter if it's coming from Jane Abbott, whether it's a audio article, whether it is this date in wrestling history, or a Messiah's message from one Marty Richards, or it's me and my breaking news. We always have something new, fresh, and we're trying to stay update on content, and we got new programs that we're working on. And we also got our buddy, the New Japan Pro Wrestling expert, the one, the only Miguel Z. You can catch his show over on Spotify with the New Japan Pro Wrestling Rebound over on Spotify. We are working on getting some of that content shifted over to the Value Wrestling YouTube channel. He will go live initially, or he will do the video initially on, or the audio, or the podcast. There we go, it's the magic word. Over on Spotify, and then about a week later, we're going to try and get it up onto the YouTube channels. He's also going to bring some content. We're in talks of him bringing us and teaching. If you're not a fan of New Japan Pro Wrestling, or don't know who these people are that are coming over from New Japan Pro Wrestling, Miguel's working on teaching you who these people are and what their story, their background is, so you can be excited and get to know who these people are instead of just seeing these people on AEW and go, who are they?
Woo.
Exactly. So Miguel's working on that. He's going to start bringing that. We got some other stuff coming forward. We can't wait to bring it to you. Make sure you ring that bell for notifications so you know when any new stuff comes up. Mr. Clarke, is there anything else you want to add before we close out tonight?
I guess that's kind of it for now. Like you said, we got all kinds of stuff kind of in the pipeline and developing new ideas to bring the channel even further.
We are trying to stay on top, stay fresh, stay within the curve, and bring you guys the very best in wrestling content. But like I always say, until the next episode, it's time to say thank you for joining us. Have a good night. We will see you next time right here on The Value of Wrestling.